Hi everyone, my name is Trey. I am 27 years old. This is my cat, Duncan, and today we're gonna talk about how much money I have. Isn't that right, baby? Yeah. I'm gonna start from a top-down approach, so I'm gonna tell you exactly how much I'm worth now at 27, and then I'll go into some of the finer details, like the numbers between my cash, my investments, and then I'm gonna talk about the why behind continuing to grow my finances so much. I mean, there's an obvious why, right? But I'm going to be talking about like my life plans, and then I'm going to be talking about the how. So there have been some life changes that have enabled me to start making more. So I'm going to be talking about that. And I have a little drink. So if you are drinking at home, cheers. Drum roll, please. I am worth $83,548. Now, my current net worth at $83,548 is a $44,814.21 increase year over year since my last video. Also, shout out to 1 year ago Trey, 26-year-old Trey, for wearing this same exact sweater in that video, which is hilarious. This is the first time I've worn this sweater all year, and it just so happens to be the same one I was wearing in the video. I don't wear this every single day. But yeah, that's a $44,814 increase, and that means I more than doubled my net worth over the course of the last year. Now, before we get into the how, let's start with the why. I have a goal to reach Coastfi by the time that I am 30. Coastfi stands for Coast Financial Independence, and the concept there, if you're new to the FI community, is to have enough in your retirement accounts so that just by compound interest alone, you can have a normal retirement. And the idea is to save as much as you can and put as much into retirement as early as you can, so that eventually you can just decide to stop saving money and then live the lifestyle that you want to live now. Maybe that is taking a new job just because one aligns with your interests more. Maybe that's keeping your job but going on extravagant vacations because you don't really have to worry about saving money anymore, besides, of course, your daily expenses. But yeah, that's kind of the goal, and I want to make sure that I'm able to do that so that I can start living my life exactly how I want to, maybe go into the arts, or just do something that's more interesting to me than what I do now. All right, now let's get into the split of where my money is. So the bulk of my portfolio is in investments, and most are in retirement investments because, again, my goal is to reach Coastfi first so that I know future me is taken care of. The majority of that, $27,638.49 of that, is in a traditional 401k account. And then the next huge chunk, $23,739.66, is in a Roth IRA. Again, no big surprises. I initially was contributing more to my Roth than to my traditional 401k, but over the years, my income has increased, which has allowed me to contribute a lot more to my 401k traditional. I also moved to the traditional route because if I do end up retiring early, doing a traditional account will allow me to essentially have the better tax burden in the end, because if I quit my job and I'm not really making much of an income, the tax is going to be much less than if I was still making money, and essentially I'll be taxed at a lower tax bracket when I take the money out, as opposed to the Roth. I'm contributing to the Roth now, and I'm being taxed now when I'm high income. So anyway, that's why I switched my strategy from contributing more to the Roth to contributing to the 401k. Luckily, I'm at a position now where I earn enough to where I can max out both and be completely fine in my life. So that's not really a stress anymore. But the goal is to have more in that 401, or in at least, pre-tax accounts. So that's the goal. Next in my investments, I have $8,882 and 36 cents in a taxable brokerage account. And the reason for that is one, I kind of just wanted to diversify outside of retirement accounts. It's still in the S&P 500. Pretty much all of my accounts are in the S&P 500, so it's not actually diversified that much, but I wanted just a different type of account. Maybe I will continue working and I'll keep contributing to a 401 or a Roth IRA in the future with an employer. And maybe that, brokerage account will become like a down payment to like a house or like a vacation house when I'm like in my, I don't know, probably like 40s or something. So that was the idea with that one, just a little bit more flexibility. And of course, I have the least in it because I'm prioritizing retirement. Once I reach Coastfi, I might start contributing more to that taxable account or just hoarding cash more. So we'll see. Okay, lastly, in investments, I have just shy of $3,000. I have $2,948.89 in an HSA. And I recently just changed employers yet again. I feel like that's a constant theme, but it's not bad. We'll get to it. But I had access to an HSA just a few months ago. The past year, I was working under a federal contract and I had access to an HSA, and it was the first time that I did. I wanted to take advantage of it because it is technically a triple tax advantaged account. I don't have access to that anymore, which is kind of a bummer. So I just have that really small amount, basically that $3,000 in there. But it'll sit there until I need it. I don't think it's that important anymore to let it invest, so I might use it just for like if I have an unexpected really high medical bill come up, like I'll probably use it. The original intention was to contribute to that for as long as I can and grow to a place where I could have like tens of thousands, if not like 100 to hundreds of thousands of dollars in this account in retirement and have essentially all of my medical bills taken care of until I die. So fun, morbid thought, but that was the goal. That did not happen. And that's okay because I have other things that'll help me in retirement. All right, now cash. So cash, I have $20,339.36. This is mainly in a high yield savings account. I have $18,592.74 in my high yield savings account. I use Wealthfront because they had a crazy deal last winter, for about a 5% yield. It was a little less than that, but they've increased it to 5% now, which is crazy. I'm making like $100 a month essentially just by doing nothing and having my account in there, which is great. It feels like I get a free night out every single month. I essentially consider $15,000 of that account as my emergency fund. And then anything above that, so the $3,500 that's above that right now, is going towards my next big life expense. That's kind of how I'm like seeing it in my mind. So likely that'll be a car or a house down payment. I would love to buy my next car in cash because I hate cars. I don't care about them. I just want to get a used car in cash, preferably an electric vehicle, because I do want to like lower my emissions. So that's the goal. So I think that'll probably cost around $20,000 from what I'm just seeing in the market, anywhere from 15 to 20. And I won't get a new one. Again, it'll probably be like 5 years because cars devalue so quickly. But I'll probably need around $20,000 for that, especially if I'm going electric. So the goal is to have 20K in addition to that initial 15. So I want to grow this account to at least $35,000. I am now over halfway there, which is crazy cool. Yeah, that's the goal there. And then the rest, I have $1,081.51 in my bank account. And actually that's about to go up because in my checking account. And that's about to go up because I just got paid today and it's not accounted for here. So really, I have like $3,000 more dollars. So my net worth is actually probably like 86,000, but who's counting? So that's just what I have in checking. And then I have about $650 $654 or $652 almost exactly in another bank account. So it's the same bank, but my bank has like 3 different accounts. So I have my checking, and then they have a reserve account and a savings account. It's PNC, and they do that a lot with their virtual wallet. And the reserve account is essentially just there if you accidentally go over your spend account. So I park $600 there, and that account is mainly for expenses that I was not expecting. So I have like, I aim for anywhere between 1 and 2K in there for the entire year. I usually put some of my bonus money in there if I get a bonus that year. And so that money accounts for mostly car repairs and then gifts, because there are always holidays I forget. There are always people's birthdays that I forget, which sounds shitty to say, but I'm just really bad with birthdays. And then lastly, the savings account I don't use. That has like $50 in there, and that's just because I use the high yield savings account, and PNC's savings account is like 0.01% interest or something. So as you can see, I have a little over 60K in the investments and a little over 20K in the cash. So it's about a 3-to-1 ratio, or 75% of my portfolio is invested and 25% of it is in cash. So that's the breakdown. And the goal is to eventually keep widening that gap between investments and cash. I want most of my stuff, most of my portfolio invested, because I'm so young and I have a lot of time to take on risk. And I want to retire early. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Lastly, I'm going to be talking about the how. How did I get here? The main answer to that question is job hopping. Like, I know it's such like a flashy term. I know that it's been villainized, and what's the opposite of villainized? Promoted seems too neutral, but heroized, God, that's not a word. I don't know. Glorified. There we go. It's been glorified and demonized, whatever, in the media. But I'm going to say, if you are a young person, job hop. Like, leave your job every 2 years. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. At the very least, try and interview as often as you can to see what your market rate is. I have literally tripled my salary in the past 5 years. So my first salary ever was with this really shitty company that underpaid everyone. And I took it because it was my first salary job and I didn't know better. And $37,000 seemed like a ton of money at the time, because you just can't picture what that means at scale when you've been working at Starbucks off and on for the past 4 years of your life. So I took that job and it was awful, and I didn't have enough money, and I was able to pay rent and my basic stuff, but I was barely able to go out ever, which, like, when you're young, Anyway, I won't go into the whole story, but yeah, when I had loans to pay and I had no money, that's what jump-started this entire journey. And I job hopped and I made like 20% more at that new position, or like a third more actually, close to half more, because I made a little over 50. So that was almost like a 50% increase. And then that company ended up sucking, so I switched to a new place, and that was a smaller increase, but still, I think I made 65. And then I I threatened to leave the place that offered me 65. Then I made 85, which was a huge win. I got a salary increase of $10,000 my second year there. So I went from 65 to 75, and then I threatened to leave and went from 75 to 85. That was all within the course of 2 years. And then I left there because I interviewed for a position with the government, and they offered 100. And so I took that, and that job sucked. I've really only had one job that hasn't sucked. And now I have another job that doesn't suck. But I haven't told you guys. So that last video where I was like, oh, I'm hopping jobs again, like blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it fucking sucked. No, I have that I'm losing my job video. So anyway, I found out that I wasn't losing my job, and then I was losing my job, and then I wasn't losing it, and then I was. Like, they tried to make positions for me, and it essentially just didn't work out. And so I eventually was laid off, but luckily I was reached out to a month before I was laid off, and it took 3 months for this interview process. But I was finally able to land another job, and the job that I have now is amazing. I negotiated, they tried to get me at 100, even though they knew that that was my previous salary. And so I was like, absolutely not. That was not even on your job description. So I negotiated to 115. So now I make $115,000 a year. And I have a bonus of anywhere from 8% to 12%, depending on my performance. So pretty much going to be making $10,000 a year in my bonus, as long as I'm not sucking. So really my compensation is like 125 a year, which is crazy. And again, so crazy if you zoom out and think about how I started at $37,000 a year in $42,000 worth of debt. Like, my debt was higher than my income. It was frankly crazy. But here we are. I also realized I didn't say what my job was. If you've been watching for a while, you already know, but I was in UX research for a long time. And now I kind of specialize within one sector of UX research, quantitative research, but it's less like data analytics and it's more CRO optimizations. Well, it stands for conversion rate optimization. That's what CRO stands for. So essentially, I run quantitative experiments on websites, like showing different copy and images to users, and I maximize for engagement and especially the selling of products. And in this case, I'm selling a subscription or membership service. So I optimize for those sales or conversions. So that's what I do. It's not hero's work, and I realize that, and that's another reason why my big goal right now is to reach Coastfi. That is the ultimate goal, and then I can fully have all the power and say, you know, it's completely up to me now. If I don't want to do this anymore, I don't have to. All I have to do is make enough to get by. And with my current trajectory, I will reach that goal in 2 years. I'm gonna be saving, you know, knock on wood, but I should be saving around $40,000 a year, which is incredible. I mean, it's just incredible. And to think that's only a third of my income now because I make 120, like, that's insane. But yeah, I should be increasing my net worth by about $40,000 a year. I would reach Coastfi, I believe, at $175,000 by 30 or 31. I think 31. $175,000 at 31 is Coastfi. I have $80,000 now, and if I'm saving $40,000 then per year, then I'm gonna double what I have now in essentially 2 years. So I'll have $160,000 saved by 2 years from now, by 29. And then, you know, I'll only need like $15,000 after that to achieve Coastfi, and hopefully I make enough in compound interest in that period to bridge that gap. But if I don't, then that'll still be, you know, what, like 3 or 4 months that I make that $15,000. So anyway, I should actually reach my goal before 30, which is insane, just thinking about how I had this goal last year. It's actually in my how much I'm worth at 26 video. I had a goal in there. I think I talked about this. I'm not sure, but I had this goal of like, oh, I want 30 by 30, and that's like a dual goal. So, or no, 100 by 30, excuse me. I wanted a salary of $100,000 by the time I was 30 years old, and I wanted $100,000 invested by the time I'm 30 years old. And I'm gonna crush both of those. I got $100,000 last year in that previous job offer, so I did that at 26, and I will reach $100,000 invested hopefully by the end of next year. And I'll reach $175,000 invested by the time sometime between 29 and 30. So yeah. Anyway, that's the whole video. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Thank you for being on my journey with me. I feel like I don't make a ton of these videos anymore, and it's because I've finally reached a place of being comfortable for the most part. Oh, I also forgot to mention, I have a pension now. So that's the other thing about retirement I was alluding to earlier. So I have a pension as long as I'm at my current employer for 5 years, which is going to be a little difficult because I like change. I mean, change is scary, but it's all I've been doing because I'm so used to job hopping. So I've never like stuck out somewhere, but I do finally feel like I'm at a place where I can do that. Like I like the team I work with. There's good creative energy. And even though it's like a very capitalist thing that I'm doing, it's technically nonprofit, which makes me laugh because I'm in a for-profit sector of it. But I like the social mission of the company that I work for, and all that to say, I think this is probably the best it's going to get for the field that I have. So if I'm going to stick it out anywhere, I think I can stick it out here. And if I do that for 5 years, I'll get at least $500 per month for the rest of my life from that company upon retirement age, which is crazy. And every additional year that I stay there, I'll gain another $100 that like per year. So if I stay at the company for 10 years, I'll get $1,000 a month when I retire, and et cetera, et cetera. And I can also retire early and take a portion of those. So I could retire early and still get the pension, but just take a smaller cut. So I feel great. I feel like I finally have checked all of the boxes, and now it's just about, I mean, it's not about money anymore, which is so crazy. So as long as I don't lose my job, right? If I lose my job, I am going to be very sad and cry a lot. But if I reach Coastfi before I lose my job or whatever, if that is to happen, then again, it won't really matter that much anymore because I'll just need to make decisions to have enough to get by, and I can do something that I care about. So I finally feel like money is not a deciding factor anymore. And I feel like 5 years is a really like poetic amount of time to have gone from I can barely make it with roommates and feel crippled with debt to I feel pretty much on top of the world, like limitless. I can keep increasing my income. I can stay here. I can have my retirement accounted for within 2 years. Like it's just such a difference in my life, and I'm very proud of that. So yeah, I also don't know, like, I think now that I make enough to fully fund my retirement and all this other stuff that I want to do, all these other savings goals that I have, like for a new car and cash and all that stuff. I'm also like another goal of mine that's not money oriented is to just enjoy some of the extra cash that I have and level up my life. So what I'm trying to do is put my money towards things that are really going to improve my quality of life now, like not buying the cheapest kitchenware. Like I want to invest in kitchenware so that my cooking experience is good. I want to invest in like good gym equipment. So like I want to get a treadmill for when I work from home, and I want to do stuff like that that's going to make more of an impact in my day-to-day and like my health. So I'm excited to like be able to throw the money at that without feeling guilty. So that's where I'm at. And I know that's a very fortunate place to be. And I know I'm very privileged in how I got here, but it's also, I also put in some really fucking hard work in the past 5 years. And I'm gonna be proud of that. So yeah. Anyway, I've been rambling for so long. Thank you so much for watching. If you have questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll get back to you. All right. Thank you. Bye.